So it's kind of,
Yes.
it gave you a kickstart, I think.
I
So
I think it gave me a kickstart in terms of the confidence, I would say.
yeah.
Like the first independent thing that I made after coming out of the film school kind of worked in the film festivals. So in terms of confidence, I started getting confident about the fact that I can write stories, I can direct stories, and that gave me push to start writing my first feature film,
Mm.
which was Dr. G, actually. So I would say I was expecting that people will watch the film and they'll say, wow, 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 Saurabh, क्या बात है, आइए आपको फिल्म डायरेक्शन का मौका देते हैं. वो नहीं हुआ.
Hey, this is your host Meenakshi Srivastava, also known as MyBohoVoyage, and I welcome you to another amazing episode of Inspiring Explorers. And as the name suggests, Inspiring Explorers is all about inspiring you with the inspiring life journeys of some of the most successful personalities from around the world, and they also share with us some interesting travel experiences that are not limited to sightseeing. For this episode of Inspiring Explorers, we have an inspiring explorer who, despite being from a family of doctors, fell in love with cinema at the age of just 7. Saurabh Bharat. Saurabh Bharat today is famous as the screenwriter of Bollywood feature film Dr. G, starring Ayushmann Khurrana, Rakul Preet Singh and Shefali Shah. As per Google, Dr. G has raised gross 40 crores worldwide and around 20 crores in just India, and is still going top 10 on Netflix while I record this episode in January 2023. But was it easy or was it difficult to pave this path to Bollywood in the city of dreams, Mumbai? Let's decode Saurabh Bharat's inspiring life journey in this episode of Inspiring Explorers, where we talk about the details of screenwriting, script writing, and how writers can actually turn their dreams into reality. As well as we'll talk about some funny behind the scenes of Dr. G and some travel experiences. And before we start this episode, let me tell you that you can watch all my Inspiring Explorer episodes on my YouTube channel named My Boho Voyage, or you can listen to them on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Just search for Inspiring Explorers on the apps and you'll find the show. Also, all the links are mentioned in the description box below. Also, come connect with me on Instagram at @MyBohoVoyage. So without further ado, let me welcome our amazing guest for today, the writer of Dr. G, Saurabh Bharat. Welcome to Inspiring Explorers, Saurabh. Super happy to have you on Inspiring Explorers.
Thank you.
I hope this will be very useful to a lot of screenwriters. So, Saurabh, you have been a doctor yourself. Okay. So, at least you were studying. I don't know if you have practiced it.
Partially.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually belong to a family of doctors. So
Oh,
my
wow.
elder brother is a doctor. My bhabhi is a doctor. I have a twin brother who is a doctor, and my wife is also a doctor. So I have 4 doctors in my family, and I'm the fifth one who's like a partially doctor because I studied dentistry. So of course I can put doctor in my name, but I never practiced. So as soon as I finished dentistry, I straight away left to the New York Film Academy to pursue my dreams of filmmaking and writing. Convincing my parents was a task, and the whole part of convincing was to finish the degree. That's why,
I
I
see.
just said that, okay, I'm going to finish the degree without any back, without getting failed even for once, and then you send me. So yeah, that's kind of happened.
Acha.
Yeah, so that's how I am a doctor. But yeah, I love biology. I love medical field. अगर मैं अगर राइटिंग का कीड़ा नहीं काटा होता तो फिर मैं किसी तरीके से डेंटिस्ट्री ही कर रहा होता. But that's like a second option to me. Writing was always the first love.
Wonderful. So, Kida kab kata about writing? Like, I want to become a script writer.
Oh, that you will laugh at me. I think कीड़ा काटा था at the age of 7 years when my
Wow.
father made me watch a very old Hindi film.
Acha.
And
Which
that
one?
I clearly remember that Hindi film. That was Mother India.
Wow. I love that movie. Truly.
I loved. I must have watched like 30 times, and I don't know how many times I cried in the film. And it is such a powerful cinema. Like
It is. Truly.
you can imagine how powerful it is that after it got made, it inspired some random boy in some random city to become a screenwriter and a storyteller. So that was the time then me and my twin brother started exploring the fact that, okay, one day we'll become a filmmaker or a screenwriter, and you won't believe that कि पढ़ने के टाइम पे हम लोग अपने रूम में बैठे हुए हैं, मम्मी पापा को लग रहा है कि हम पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, but we are discussing new stories. And we even used to like write down the titles of it so that we won't forget it. And I still have that diary where we have like written down all those titles. It was, I think, 102 titles we have written it down.
Wow.
And so that we don't forget the stories of it, we used to write one line of the story in front of that title. So that today, when I actually pick it up and I actually see it, most of the stories are actually bad, like really bad.
When you were just 7.
Yeah. But some of them still are valid. So even if I cut down only the valid stories I pick up, there are 20 to 25 good concepts there itself. Like
Wow.
So one of my first short film that I made was one of the stories that I thought at that time, at the
Wow.
age of 10 or something like that.
Wow, and that's a very powerful short film, by the way. Like I watched that, and even though you had very low budget, I can see that. But but even in that, you could relay the message that you wanted to. And I hate that
Correct.
you killed that girl. I liked her. Why do writers do that?
That short film has its own story. Actually, if I talk about that, I was in film school in New York Film Academy, and there I met another Indian woman, very good friend. She became Kanchan Kulkarni, who's the lead in that film. So once I finished filmmaking course, Kanchan always used to say that we have to do something together. And I came to Mumbai, and I wasn't actually getting anything to do. And she was feeling very bad. Yes, 3 महीने हो गए सौरभ किसी से मिला भी नहीं है, and he doesn't even know anyone. So at that time she said that, okay, I'm putting money, you make any of your short films. So she put up the money, and because she was a trained actor also, so I said, I'm going to cast you only. And that's how there were 4 or 5 stories, and I narrated all of them to her, and then she somehow stuck to this one and said that this is really good. And we started making that film knowing that कि हमें पता भी नहीं था हम क्या करने वाले हैं उस फिल्म का, कहाँ भेजने वाले हैं, what's going to happen. We don't even have money to cast any big other actors. So most of the people that you see in the short film are my cousins and relatives.
Okay.
Including Prashansa, who is the other girl.
Yeah, Prashansa
She's also my cousin. Yeah. So she's also my cousin.
But she acted really well.
She was a surprise discovery. So because it was the second most important role in the script, we were looking for actress from Mumbai. And there are like 50 girls I have auditioned, some really big names today also, including now they have become bigger names. And we didn't find anyone. Then randomly, I was talking to her because we were supposed to shoot in Bhopal and she lives in Bhopal.
Okay.
So I asked her, why don't you give the audition? But when she sent her audition tapes, it was like mind-boggling. It's like, she's absolutely fit. So without any training, just 2 workshops we did and we started shooting that film. When we reached shooting Bhopal, it was raining madly and we had our whole schedule of 8 days, but कभी बारिश होने लगती थी, कभी बंद हो जाती थी. We used to run out and then in, अच्छा बारिश नहीं हो रही, चलो बाहर शूट कर लेते हैं, बारिश हो रही है, चलो अंदर शूट कर लेते हैं. That's the fun of making a small film, you know.
Exactly.
Because you don't need to be too planned. And you don't have actors who are going to say, नहीं आप तो planned नहीं हो, बारिश हो रही है तो हम shoot नहीं करेंगे and all those things. So yeah, so we finished the shoot, then we finished the editing in Mumbai only. And the first screening we did in December, and quite a lot of industry people we invited. And surprisingly, people loved Ek at that time. And I was shocked. अच्छा, ये तो मजे में ठीक-ठाक बन गई.
No, it was powerful, very powerful.
Then we start sending it to the festivals, and it got selected into 4 or 5 festivals, I think. I don't remember the number of them. And in one festival, it also won the Best of the Festival award. And then in one festival, even Prashansa won Best Supporting Actress. And I was like, because she was not even supposed to be the part of the film, and she won the Best Supporting Actress award. And even later on, it got selected in 2015 MAMI, Mumbai Film Festival. So yeah, that was the journey. But then very soon I realized short films are not gonna help you anything in Mumbai. At least at that time, I could say.
Okay.
Today, the scenarios are a little different. People appreciate if you made a good short film and then you get a direction where to go. But when I made a short film at that time, there was no platforms. There was nothing where you can put your short film. You usually majorly used to put in YouTube, and also in YouTube, nobody's gonna like, unless anyone has a link or there's a big face, nobody's gonna watch it. So it didn't do anything for me. And the writing journey started afterwards.
Yeah, but at least it gave you a push, I think, because it reached quite a good number of festivals. There was DC International Film Festival, Vancouver. So it's kind of, it gave you a kickstart, I think.
I think it gave me a kickstart in terms of the confidence, I would say.
Yeah.
Like the first independent thing that I made after coming out of the film school kind of worked in the film festivals, and a lot of people were appreciating the fact that with no budget, they were able to film, put out a film which is kind of based on riots. So it sounds a little crazy. Like, how can anyone make a film on riot with no budgets or anything?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but so in terms of confidence, I started getting confident about the fact that I can write stories, I can direct stories. And that gave me push to start writing my first feature film, which was Dr. G, actually. So I would say I was expecting that people will watch the film and they'll say, wow, wow, Saurabh, kya baat hai? आइए आपको film direction का मौका देते हैं. वो नहीं हुआ.
वो चीज नहीं हुई.
वो नहीं हुआ. But ये हुआ कि I started feeling कि जो मैं सोचा बैठा था घर पे 6 साल का 7 साल का कि लिखूंगा, और one of those story actually turned out real and get into the cinema halls, मतलब at least in the film festivals, and people liked it. So one tiny part of my dream got fulfilled, and that gives the boost कि you can make, your stories are valid. People are going to watch it.
Exactly. पापा को भी बताने को हो गया कि पापा मैंने आधी डॉक्टरी करी, लेकिन देखो I finally made it.
So I'll tell you a very weird incident.
Yeah.
When there was the screening, the first screening that I was talking about, before then that I got married. And I was married to Sapna. We had a love marriage, and it also was an intercaste marriage. So she belongs to Jats. So Jats are like, they have काफी, लेकिन फिर भी थोड़ा dissociation type का था. My father-in-law was like not too very keen on me, and he still don't like me that much. But yeah, overall, it was the fact that कि क्या करेगा लड़का and all that. So शादी के almost 1 साल बाद इसकी screening हो रही थी, and somehow no one from my family was able to actually attend it क्योंकि मेरे elder brother की सगाई हो रही थी. So everyone was there, but he was supposed to be in Mumbai for some of his work. And then मैंने बोला ठीक है तो आप आ जाओ screening पे, somebody from my family should be there. So he came and he saw so many of the industry people are there and they are loving the film. And even I think he also kind of liked the film. Then that's what's the point. I was like, yes, कहीं तो proof किया मैंने अपने आप क्योंकि आपकी बेटी ने गलत शादी नहीं की है.
Nice.
So yeah. So that was the time. खैर उसके बाद डॉक्टर जी आते आते again 10 साल लग गए. So उनको लगा ये बस एक ही काम का था, नहीं हुआ कुछ.
Parents have a little doubt on that, but then it takes time. These things take time, but then it's a good start, Saurabh. I believe you're gonna make some really big blockbusters, and I'm gonna pray for it. Yes. So you also worked with Prakash Jha as a side director, so co-director. I'm not good with the terms yet.
Yeah, assistant director. I would say intern. I would say. Actually, what happened is when I just finished shooting Ek, and it was supposed to go to the festivals, and festivals take time. So at that time I was like कि अब मैं बैठने तो नहीं वाला हूँ. So somehow मुझे पता चला सत्याग्रह की शूटिंग भोपाल में हो रही है. And then I reached Bhopal, and there through some person I was able to meet him, and he said ठीक है ज्वाइन कर लो, as an intern ज्वाइन कर लो, सीखते रहना, सेट पे रहना. And I was not able to actually tell that नहीं सर मैं तो प्रॉपर न्यूयॉर्क फिल्म एकेडमी ग्रेजुएट हूँ, पास आउट हूँ, आप मुझे इंटर्न क्यों ले रहे हो, आप मुझे प्रॉपर असिस्टेंट ले लो. But nobody cares. So at that time, but I thought, chalo, experience milega. At least you'll get a big film experience. And so I got that experience of Satyagrah, which is pretty learning in terms of how a big film set works. So creatively, yes, you learn things at film school and everything. But when you're working in a feature film, that's also with a star cast of like Amitabh Bachchan, Kareena Kapoor, Ajay Devgan, Arjun Rampal, and all those people, and that's also in a schedule of like 45 days. It's a tough shoot film and with lot of crowd and so much of preparation used to go around. Like everyone was hired locally only because इतने सारे लोगों को आप कहाँ से लेकर के आओगे? And can you believe I was on the charge of casting the main backgrounds? So like,
Wow.
and it has to be with the, so even though they are not going to say any lines, but like Amitabh Bachchan के पीछे जो लोग खड़े हैं वो थोड़े different दिखने चाहिए rather than who is standing beside behind Ajay Devgan.
हाँ, because
So
दो teams हैं.
Arjun Rampal's team should look like they are like goons, and Ajay Devgan's team should look like students, and Amitabh Bachchan team should look like Aan Janta. So this how the casting and then how to put those people, और कभी-कभी एक आध line उनको बोलने को मिल जाती थी. So all that casting I only used to do. I used to have a list of like 200 people of Ajay Devgan team, 200 people of this team, and I have to literally remember them कि ये इसकी team का है, ये and it was like
Exactly,
but
and
I
you just
learned a
met
lot.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, I met them. I worked very, very closely on this script as well, because the second task that they have given to me was to decide the scene, to actually cut out the scenes of the next day, give it to the actors, make sure it reaches to the actor, and the next day morning also, if they don't have the script in their hand, provide the script to them, go through with them, explain which scene is this till Mr. Prakash actually arrives. So yeah, that is also usually a task, because mostly when you actually go to Mr. Bacchan, he used to have hundreds of questions. And that is like, you can't miss it. But there's so much to learn from him as well. Like, I remember whenever we used to like, actors vanity में बैठे हुए हैं, धूप बहुत ज़्यादा आ नहीं रहे हैं. The only way to tell them to come out is, बच्चन साहब पहुंच गए सेट पे. वे सब भागे भागे चले आए. That's the respect he has earned, and that's also true, because he, even if his scene is over and दो तीन shots के बाद उनका scene आएगा, फिर भी वो वापस vanity में नहीं जाते थे. He used to sit there and see what is happening rather than going back to the vanity. So there's so much to learn from that guy. That's true.
Yes, I've heard those stories about Amitabh Bachchan as well. Like, he's very dedicated to work.
And I remember Manoj Bajpaye was also in the film. And Manoj Bajpaye, he will not stick to the line. He will change, he will modify it. He will actually try to give so many variation of that one particular line, so that इसको मैं इस तरीके से भी बोल सकता हूँ, इसको मैं इस तरीके भी बोल के दिखाता हूँ. सर बताइए कैसा लग रहा है?
And Manoj Bajpaye again is superb actor.
Superb.
And coming to inspiring with you as well, you have been to Mumbai because of the script writing, and I think that would have been scary. So could you share a little about the journey of being in Mumbai and then making a blockbuster film named Dr. G that is still going hit on Netflix?
So I'll tell you a very weird fact that very less people know about it. Before coming to Mumbai, I went to film school, and when I came back, I started watching a film. Like I was not in Mumbai, I was in Gwalior. I was watching a film. Randomly, someone has actually sent the link of the film, and it wasn't in theaters. I was watching in my laptop and something like that. And I saw this guy who is doing this dialogue. And मुझे लगा मैं इसको जानता हूँ, और फिर मुझे लगा यार इसको तो मैं पढ़ाता था, बायोलॉजी पढ़ाता था मैं इसको. And then I called his mom and I said, आंटी ये कोकी ने कोई फिल्म कर ली है क्या? तो आंटी जोर जोर से हंसने लगी. And then I realized कि yes, it was. So it was Karthik Aryan.
Wow.
So Karthik, I used to know Karthik from the day when he was in 12th class, I guess. I used to teach him biology for a year. Biology में अच्छे नंबर आए थे उसके. So So then I went for the film school. I came back. 2-3 साल हो गए और 2 या 3 साल बाद when I came back, I saw प्यार का पंचनामा first part. I was like, ये तो कोकी है and he's doing such a good acting and all that. अब फिर और मुझे 1 महीने में मुंबई पहुंचना ही था. तो फिर मैंने कोकी को कॉल किया. मैंने बोला कि सो आई वी ऑलवेज कॉल हिम कोकी. सो मैंने कोकी को कॉल किया कि आई एम कमिंग टू मुंबई. एनी विच वेज आई वाज थिंकिंग ऑफ फाइंडिंग अ प्लेस और समथिंग, बट initially I can I crash at your place? So I called him up and we set up. So I stayed with him for 3-4 months before I found out my own place. So but those 3-4 months was very inspiring because I saw him struggling so much, and he was also a very hardworking guy. He knows his shortcomings. He used to work a lot on them. Like सुबह 5 बजे से उठ करके he used to work on his vocal cords सरगम बजा करके so that his voice opens up and all that.
Wow.
And I realized that how dedicated he is. And at that time I too didn't know anyone. But he was shooting for Akashvani, which was the second film with Love Ranjan. So I went on his shoot and see how the things was going on. It was nice. First time in the Hindi film set I was there, it was Akashvani. So that is even before Satyagrah. Then I got I made my short film, then I got to Satyagrah. And after I came back from Satyagrah, I joined Mr. Dharmesh Darshan as an associate director for a year. But the project got shelved. And at that time, there was this random idea in my head which was going around since the time when I met my wife in her college. So she was in a medical college doing post-graduation in gynecology. So I went to meet her, and that's where the idea of Dr. J, and at that time I used to call it Stree Rog Vibhag, was strike to me.
Okay.
But that idea stayed with me for 4 years or something like that. I haven't started working on it. And at that time, then I met, when I was like leaving the job, and one day I met Karthik. I said, nothing is happening. I don't know what to do and all that. I don't want to go again and just assist a film. So I randomly just narrated him this idea, and he said, it's a good idea. You should write it, and then we can take it to Mr. Love Ranjan as well. So I wrote the script. I even actually take it to Love Ranjan after finishing it. But that time, I think Mr. Love Ranjan was actually planning to shoot for Pyar Ka Panchnama 2. And then he again had Sonu Ki Tittu Ki Sweetie on the script level or something like that. So he said that I want to make this film, but you have to wait for 2 years. So then I said, I will pitch it around. If I get someone, then well and good. If it doesn't happen, then I'll come back to if after you finish your film. But luckily, in 2015, I sent it to Somen Mishra in Jungly Pictures. So Somen Mishra was in Jungly Picture at that time. It's a random email that I got it from some friend, and he just told me, just send your script to him. He is just reading. And at that time, my condition was like this, कि अगर कोई पढ़ रहा है ना आपकी script, वो भी बड़ी बात, बनाने की तो बहुत दूर की बात है. If anyone is reading your script, you just be grateful about the fact. So I thought that at least kya hoga. He didn't like it, but he will give a few suggestions. That's what Mr. Love Ranjan also did. He gave me some really good suggestions about the script, which one of few of them was actually stayed in the final film as well. So then Somen read it, and after 2 months of sending it, I just randomly got a call from Somen and said, Saurabh, can you come to Times of India office? So like, why Times of India? Like, because Jungly Picture is of Times of India. So what's Jungly Picture? I said, you send the script to me, right? Yeah, but I thought you're just like reading scripts. So I thought you're reading a script, you'll just read it and you'll tell me. Like, come. So I went, I met him, and he's like, we really like this story. We really like the premise. But how do you put it in one line? What is your log line of this? So उस समय ना मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा I didn't used to know how to pitch, how to see. I very just as a layman, I said, I don't know how to make a log line out of this, but आपने Devil Wears Prada तो देखी होगी. So he's like, yeah, I have watched Devil Wears Prada. So it's Devil Wears Prada set up in a gynecology department. So
Okay.
Oh, that's a very nice way to pitch this story. It's very good. Saurabh, you just resolved my whole problem that how am I gonna convince my seniors in the production? So, but that was my whole inspiration as well in terms of the structure. But of course, the world of the Devil Wears Prada is completely different. It's a fashion, and this is completely different.
Yeah.
It's a government hospital and all that.
Ah.
So then within I think by the time of 2016 May, they make me meet Anubhuti Kashyap, came on board as a director. Actually, before than that, I told them I want to direct it. So then they said that, okay, Saurabh, it's very difficult, like to convince people to put money on you. Why don't you let this film get made and then you write something else for yourself? So I was apprehensive because the whole fact that because I know the gynecology world so closely, I know the medical world so closely, which no one else knows. So my whole idea was that I want to direct it because I'm the right person who can bring a balance of the medical world and the world of cinema, how to merge them.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then when I met Anubhuti, I realized one very important thing is that the whole feminist tone that I wanted to have in the story, which was there, but it was very superficial. The feminist tone is still had a very male POV to it. So when Anubhuti came and we started discussing the script, I realized that how important it is for the script to have a female director. And I think within 2 meetings, I got like completely convinced that Anubhuti should direct this. So we started writing another draft. I think in 2016, I signed the film to Jungli Pictures. And then we started writing a draft. One draft I wrote with Anubhuti. Then Sumit Saxena, he came on the picture, he started writing the dialogues. But by the time we finished the draft and started approaching people, the team of Jungli Picture got changed. Somain left, Somain reached to Dharma Productions, and CEO also got changed. And at that time, there was no one inside Jungli Picture to actually push the project. So it got on a back burners for 2 years or something like that. But in 2018, I guess Amrita Pandey came and then the project got revived. Then we started pitching and finally Ayushmann said yes and the script was ready and like everyone got casted. And then pandemic happens. So the shoot, it was supposed to go on floor in 2020 April. The shoot dates were also decided. But the April 2020 April was havoc at that time. So it got stopped. 2021 also, it got pushed again, and then later on we shoot it in September. So that was the story. It got delayed multiple times, even after the script getting locked in 2017-18.
So it must be like a very difficult time for you, I guess, because पहली बार तो एक script somebody's reading and then they're making a movie on that, and now there are so many breakages in between. So already like the thug, I can imagine.
I always tell this to writers who actually always come say that I want to become a screenwriter, and I said that I tell them the one most important thing is not talent that you want to have. Is the patience that you need to have. For two things. One, because writing itself needs a lot of patience. It's like writing. It's not like you're going to get one draft and that draft is going to ready. The draft that I sent to Somain Mishra was my 14th draft. 14th draft I sent to Somain Mishra that got approved, and uske baad bhi kam se kam 7-8 draft likhe gaye hain before the film actually gone on the floor. So it's a long process in that way. Second, when a film actually starts getting made, it starts from the head of the writer. And with the head of the writer, उसके दिमाग में जब आती है और जब लिख करके तैयार होती है, उसी में 3-4 साल चले जाते हैं. और फिर जब फिल्म बनने में और टाइम लगता है. तो प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि बाकी सब लोग डायरेक्टर बाद में आया है, प्रोड्यूसर बाद में आया है, एक्टर्स और बाद में आए हैं. So उनके लिए जर्नी ये 2 साल या 3 साल की होती है. But for a writer, it's a very long journey. Even though the later part of it, writers are not too actively involved because अब उनके हाथ में कुछ रह नहीं जाता mostly. It's about like when the actors will come, what they will do. They can only like उन बुलाया जाता है. We also jam with actors once in a while because if they want to do any certain changes, it has to be done by the writer. and all those things. But overall, it goes out of your hand. Like for example, कि आप एक बच्चा पैदा कर रहे हो और 9 महीने में बच्चा बनता है पेट के अंदर, तो पहले 3 महीने ही सिर्फ राइटर के पास रहता है, और फिर बाद के 3 महीने, बीच के 3 महीने डायरेक्टर के पास, और लास्ट के 3 महीने एडिटर के पास रहता है. तो आप, लेकिन आप सबसे पहले हो जिसने बच्चा बनाना शुरू किया था, तो आपका टाइम सबसे लंबा होता है. So wait is the most crucial part of the writing, and that's why I always tell writers कि आपने अपनी तरफ से कहानी बनाती, स्क्रिप्ट लिखती, now भूल जाओ कि वो कभी बनेगी. Just go ahead and start writing something else. Start making another book. Because if you continuously want to have your scripts coming out to the screen, you have to start writing. Because if you're waiting for that next 6 months ki kab ye ban ke niklegi and all that, you're just wasting your time. Good thing is that the point when I finished Dr. Ji ka draft that was supposed to be done by me, and then Sumit came and started writing dialogue. Uske baad se fir I started writing I started writing many other things, and which is again on the verge of getting to the producers, or maybe on the verge of casting. So that process is going on, but it also is very painful to admit the fact that if I'm going to write 10 things, 1 or 2 things will get made. So that's why I always keep telling people, don't stuck to the one thing. Letting go is also a very big part of writing. So you write and then give it to people. Let them read it. Let them react to it. Let them make it. Do not get too attached to it, because when they will come on the board, they will also make it their baby. So you have to give away your parenthood to someone else. And that's a very painful task, but you have to do that.
Yeah, and Bhagavad Gita's concept that फल की इच्छा मत करो कर्म करो applies a lot on this then.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I always think that the person who has the most patience and have even a 30% of the writing skills will become a bigger writer. That's just, you have to keep writing. That's the only way. Like if someone comes and tells you कि ये 19th draft है, but still there is a scope for 20th, sit down and make that 20th draft. It's very difficult. I know it's very difficult to do, said and done. But very recently, one of my script was about to get made, casting is all done, and then something happened and it's like, again, stopped. And now the new producer is coming on board, and the new producer want to change a few things. And I was like, ये तो मेरे दिमाग से चला गया था कि अब ये तो बनने वाली है यार, casting हो चुकी है, everything हो चुकी है. But then again, I have to sit. अभी 2 दिन पहले मैं उस पे बैठ करके वो changes कर रहा था, and I was like, it almost feels like eternity that I'm writing this script. That script is also about, like, I started writing that script in 2016. So now it's like 8 years almost that I'm writing that script.
Yes. Oh God, the amount of patience that you need seriously in this process is, a lot of people don't know about it. Quite literally, this is the first time I'm hearing about all of this that happens. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I understand that. So, and then you have scripters. So I think that will be helpful for a lot of writers, because then they come to Mumbai, right?
Yeah, that's kind of my dream actually. More than only writing films. Of course I want to, but scripters is something that I definitely wanted to go beyond me, actually, to be very honest.
It should. I hope so as well, because the dreams die of screenwriters, and people are very scared to go to Mumbai, to be very dead honest. Right.
That's true.
Exactly.
Like, there are so many talented people out there, and they might even have great stories also. I think everyone has a great story. For example, I would love to know what was your story behind starting this podcast,
So yeah, podcasting is again a good journey, and then you get to know a lot of things like about scripting. Like, I know about the pressure and the anxiety that you might go through, but I did not know about the patience that it takes. And here I'm thinking that I have very less patience.
So anyone who want to increase their patience should become a screenwriter. Yeah.
Exactly.
You definitely. Unless you are a quitter. Like, I mean, there is nothing bad in being a quitter, to be very honest, huh? Because everyone has a limit. And I also tell people that if you try something and you eventually understand that this is not for you, there is no shame in quitting. Because it's good that you understood. And you're just not hitting your head to something that's definitely not meant for you. So quitting is not a bad thing. But it's the only thing that if you really think you are a good writer, a good storyteller, and you definitely see you being a screenwriter, then the first and foremost thing is having the patience. And the second thing is to understand this one fact that it is also a craft. So if people, they're like, so what happened that once Dr. G got announced, I was flooded with people sending me a message. I also have a story. I also have a story. And Instagram, Facebook, somebody is getting my WhatsApp and all that, and they are sending me the stories. By that time, Scriptors was already started. But one thing that I have realized that a lot of people have an idea and they think that it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And they think that they have the whole story with them. And they think that कि I'm telling you, तुम बना लो, मुझे पैसे दे दो.
काश इतना आसान होता.
So I always tell them, आप मुझे अपना आइडिया सुनाइए मत, लिख के भेजिए. 2 पेज भी लिख के भेजेंगे तो चलेगा. तो 70% of the people जो अपना आइडिया मुझे फोन पे सुनाना चाहते थे, कभी लिख के नहीं भेजते. इसका मेन रीजन ये है कि the moment you will tell them to actually pen down their ideas, they themselves started to realize that their idea is almost a fizzle.
Yeah.
Because when you write it down, when you have to sit down and give words to it, बकवास तुम मुझसे आप करवा लो कितने करवाते जाओ, मैं ही 50 कहानियां ऐसे सुना दूंगा. लेकिन when I have to sit down and write a script, I realized a lot of ideas that I was thinking was great never turn out to be a great script. Because then you realize there is a flaw in the story, and those flaw is a basic idea that one needs to learn. So I always tell people कि जो भी आप screenwriter बनना चाहते हो, of course the idea की आपकी यूनिकनेस, आपकी वॉइस, आप जो लिख रहे हो, आप किस तरीके से किस छोटी छोटी चीजों में कहानी देख लेते हो, वो कोई नहीं बता सकता आपको, वो आपके अंदर इनहेरेंट है. लेकिन अगर आप प्रोफेशनल राइटर बनना चाहते हो तो यू नीड टू लर्न अबाउट स्क्रीन राइटिंग, एंड देयर आर लॉट ऑफ वेज अबाउट इट. देयर आर कोर्सेज आउट देयर. इवन इफ यू कांट एक्चुअली टेक अ कोर्स, देयर इज लॉट ऑफ मटेरियल ऑन इंटरनेट दैट यू कैन रीड. Even before going to film school, I think I had read almost everything about screenwriting at the age of 22. So the whole point was that these days, a lot of people think that they are writer just by watching 2-3 videos. But when it comes to know what is script writing is, what is act 1, act 2, act 3, how you write the climax, what is the character graph, what is inciting incident. आप ये टेक्निकल टर्म्स पूछ लो, दे डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट इट.
Exactly. And it's, yeah.
ऐसा नहीं है कि लोग विदाउट ये टेक्निकल इंफॉर्मेशन स्टोरीज नहीं लिखते. वो लिखते हैं, पर उनकी वो स्टोरी स्क्रीन प्ले नहीं होता. वो स्टोरी होती है. देन यू कैन राइट अ नॉवल. फॉर अ नॉवल देयर इज नो pattern that you need to follow.
Exactly. These are two different things. And yeah. Here I thought that these were kind of the similar things, but now I understand all of this, that a novel is different than a screenwriting. And then again.
Exactly. And the very basic difference is it's called screenwriting because you're writing for the screen. You're not writing for the audience.
Exactly.
So when you write that for example, बोले कि मीनाक्षी को बुरा लग रहा था. You cannot write that on screenplay. मीनाक्षी को बुरा लग रहा था तो उसने क्या किया? Maybe she was like she hold her head. Meenakshi holds her head in depression, or maybe Meenakshi throws a bottle. That you write because that is something visual. You cannot write emotion in the script because the reader, for example, the director reads it. She's feeling bad. What am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to show she's feeling bad?
Exactly.
Either am I going to put up a voiceover, or so I need to make the character do something so that it conveys to the audience that she's feeling bad. Either she's telling it to a friend, or she is. So then, if she's telling, there is a dialogue.
Hmm.
So screenwriting is about a visual
Yeah.
rather than you writing an emotion. Like when we write a novel, we actually go inside the head of the character and what the character is feeling. We can write all those things, but not in the screenwriting.
Yeah.
So these basic technical differences is some, or ये सिर्फ एक नहीं है. There is a whole
Yeah,
set
of
of
course. Yeah.
technical differences that you, and there is a particular standard international format in which you
Oh,
should write the script. There are screenwriting softwares, इसीलिए
it's
कि you so like final draft, cell text. Why there are screenwriting softwares? Because there is a whole pattern that you need to follow. And these days, writers are using the softwares because it's very easy for the production to actually divide that script and start the pre-production.
exactly. And this is what you do in Scriptors. You tell all your script writing students how to
Yeah.
like go
So,
into the details of scripting.
yeah. So, in a very brief, I will tell you what.
Yeah.
My whole journey from Gwalior to Mumbai to Dr. G, that journey made me learn a lot of things, like how to make connections or how to make anyone read your script, what is right, what was wrong, what should be like legal hassles as well. And that experience, I realized I was able to do that experience because my wife and my family was supporting me in Mumbai, and I have the privilege to stay here and not to worry about money because my wife was earning.
Hmm.
But not everyone is that privileged to actually stay in Mumbai and achieve those things, because there was no time restriction on my head. I have seen a lot of people coming to Mumbai, and because they have only 2 years to figure out what they're doing, they have to go back. And
Yeah.
2 साल तो यहाँ पर सिर्फ आपको लोगों के ऑफिस पहुंचने तक में लग जाता है.
Uh,
So how it's gonna work? And I don't want, see, अगर आप किसी फील्ड में आए हो और आपके आने से there is no difference into that particular field, what is the growth, what is the success of it? ऐसे तो आप आओ, आप अपनी कहानियां लिख करके चले जाओ. But if you're coming in that particular field and you are paving a path for someone else, or you are creating something that's gonna make the path easier for the further generations of writers that are going to come, then there is a real difference that you have actually brought in the field. And that was the whole idea of the thought that the basics that took me 10 years can easily be cut down to 5 if we create this platform of scripters. So now what happened that we started putting this out to the writers who are coming to us. We have this platform. You don't need to come to Mumbai. You don't need to rent a very expensive 1 BHK in Mumbai and waste your money. Stay there where you are, because stories are everywhere. Stay there where you are. Write with us. Thanks to the technology of Google Meet and Zoom, that we sit down with them, we discuss their stories, and they're writing with us, staying in their place, and then we are taking it ahead and pitching to the producers, getting it approved, and then finally even getting them on the writer's room. And eventually, once it get made, then there is a chance that they can come to Mumbai and we can take it ahead.
wow, this is actually very beautiful. Like this
Hmm.
saves a lot of headache of, people who are dreaming to be writers. At least they can try their hands here first
Correct.
before
Correct.
going actually in the field and fighting in Mumbai.
Right, right. No, and it is also like it is in a way a pitching agency as well. So like a lot of times what happened that अभी recently मुझे एक producer का call आया, उन्होंने बोला कि यार मुझे ना कोई अवधि अवधि भाषा वाला बंदा चाहिए जो उसके dialogues लिख सके. And surprisingly, we had one guy who has contacted us, who had some stories, and he was from that area and everything. Though he was not too expert of dialogue writing, but then we said that we can attach him with some other writer and he can write in Avdi and everything. So that's also an interesting aspect, that we are not only providing a platform from the side of the writers, but there are producers as well who actually want to find new talent and they're looking for new stories and everything. So that way, it is a two-sided thing that
Hmm.
we are kind of trying to provide. Abhi, so we are at a very early stage, but
Yeah.
still we have almost 20 associate writers working with us. Every day we are getting 2 to 3 new writers from the different part of the world. To be very honest, there are two writers working with us from New Zealand. There are two
Wow.
writers working with us from Dubai.
Wow.
So yeah, so I mean, lot of people are contacted us, and we are kind of making a bank of concepts, stories, and writers. So if anyone can come to us and can say that, okay, we want a writer who is a female and a Dalit who knows that hardship, and we want that sort of a writer in our writing room, so we should be able to provide the producer that sort of a writer.
Exactly. Like you are kind of helping being a bridge between the writers as well as the producers and directors, which is very good. Like having this platform itself is a blessing. So kudos on
Yes,
the ideas of scripters.
I'm so there are a lot of other there are six main members over here, and they're also like directors and writers. So we are also in on our way of struggle. I mean, it's not like that we have become the boss of Bollywood or anything like that. But having a team always helps you. Like today, when I can write at least one or two concepts at a time, but now when producers come to me and said that, Saurabh, ye bhi likh paoge ya ye bhi likh paoge, I know that I have a team of writers with me, and they all are very talented. And the best part is that they are all very assured about their credits and money, which we are very transparent about, in the fact that कि भाई अगर आपकी कहानी है, आपने जितना काम किया है, you don't have to worry about it. So there is nothing called ghost writing. Everything over here is a co-writing. That's our whole idea. Is like a lot of times so many assistant writers have contacted me and say that, sir, आप credit नहीं भी दोगे ना, आप बस मुझे अपने साथ काम करने दो. And the first thing that I used to think that, why you are saying that? Like, why you don't want your credit? You should be credited. I said, नहीं हमने बहुत writers के साथ काम किया, वो उनके एक साथ यही experience रहा है, उन्होंने बोला कि हम पैसे दे देंगे, but credit नहीं दे पाएंगे. And I used to say, that's very sad, because maybe everything must have been written by this guy,
Yeah.
and that big writer must be getting the credit. But if scripters works out, this practice will be shattered, because then the new writers who are getting used because they don't know where to go will have a place to work where they will be very assured that whatever good work they will do, they will be credited and paid accordingly.
Exactly. And that way we'll also know who's behind the good idea and the bad idea, of course.
Exactly. And in a way, it is all good for the industry, because then the talent will be actually be promoted, and then we'll get really good stories. End of the day, when you nurture good talent, especially writers, which is the basic of the whole industry, the whole industry will start getting good stories. Like currently, if देखा जाए तो सबसे बड़ा blame on the Bollywood is this only. That where are the original stories? Because people now wanted to see stories.
Yeah, people are switching towards stories now and something that is more meaningful.
And even people are okay to watch new faces, completely new faces. If it's well made, if it is well written, they want to know the story.
Of course. Yeah, we are evolving as well as an audience.
Yeah, and that process is vice versa. So like I always tell that writers need to push the envelope a little bit. कि नहीं completely, like for example, अगर आप स्त्री रोग विभाग या डॉक्टर जी का पहला ड्राफ्ट देखोगे, that was like scandalous, because that was a completely raw story. It was like I literally have put the real thing so out there that people got literally shocked. Like the people who read it for the first time, they were like, is it really, does this really happens? Like there is this one who galat jagah ghus jate and all that. A lot of people commented and messaged and said that, does this really happen? I said, I told them it does. It really does, because गांव के 16-17 साल के लड़के लड़कियों की शादी करा दी जाती है, and they have no sex education or anything. They have no idea. Really, they just don't know.
Exactly.
And so that's when we started writing that it's so raw. Dr. G was so raw that people started saying that कि ये तो कैसे कोई पढ़ेगा या देखेगा भी, ये तो दिखा ही नहीं सकते. And then they made the script little, Anubhuti came on board and we made the script little palatable for the audience. But still, we kind of pushed the envelope within the whole structure. We pushed the envelope in being little different side. And good that happens, because eventually when audience comes and see कि थोड़ा uncomfortable करना audience को भी जरूरी है. And that's how it becomes a little bit more evolved. So that next time when they will see something more mature, they will not get uncomfortable.
Yeah, got it. So a lot of people had questions with this. So I think now this is answered, because a lot of them were like, I'm also a doctor, okay, and they should have raised more issues on the life and struggles of doctors than just, putting this. And of course, they were like, Tabu to theek hai. They wanted to see the angle that you guys played with Rakul and Ayushmann Khurrana's characters. They're
Uh,
more worried about that friend zoning. Kyun kare?
that was also very interesting because it also becomes a part of that mostly is Anubhuti's input. Because earlier the draft that I have, there was no love angle at all. Like it was completely a friendship angle, and they never actually fall in love. Up because I actually do not want to make it a rom-com. To be very honest, it should be a college drama. But then, of course, you need songs. You need to make it like a proper college film and something like
Typical
that.
Bollywood.
Yes, but we were very sure, अनुभूति and me, कि हम typical Bollywood वाला material डालेंगे, but हम typical Bollywood नहीं बनाएंगे. And that's where this beautiful ending idea is Anubhuti's idea. I love
I
that, but a lot
loved
of
it.
people,
Yeah.
it's just
Anubhuti,
like,
kudos to Anubhuti as well, and thanks for that
हाँ,
angle, because I absolutely loved the fact when he proposes her to be his best friend, like
friend,
the male
yeah.
best friend, and that's very rare in Indian culture. So having that male best friend as your female colleague, so I think I loved that
That's
ending.
surprisingly, to be very honest, I don't exactly get why people make this whole fuss too much about being male best friend, because I am male best friend of so many girls from my dental college. Like I used to be that one guy. We had a group of like so of course the batch was 100 people, but the friends group was of 10 people. Out of that 10 people, there were 8 girls and 2 boys. So all of the girls used to be all those 8 girls were very good friend of mine, and there was never a love angle.
Yeah.
And I personally think इसको over exaggerate किया जाता है. अगर आप इसको if you actually see in the reality, friendship actually doesn't define by the gender. It doesn't.
Exactly. And this movie, yeah, in this movie also that I saw is the main was gynecology, of course. We are covering those issues. Those are the major issues. But then this
Yeah.
movie in 2 hours has covered a lot of issues that people haven't seen, I think, or not noticed. I don't know. But you guys have covered so many things, like teen pregnancies, like Uday's mother being a single mom, and she's so elder and yet she's working on her dream as well. Like, do not
Correct.
let it
Correct.
go. Like, so
Correct.
many small things that you guys have covered in this just one movie in just 2 hours. Having that best friend who is saying, again, that is not to be. I loved that part where he say कि मैं बस ऐसी बता रही हूँ, मेरी story का कोई ऐसा कोई खास मकसद नहीं है. It's like,
Karthik is one of my favorite character. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like a lot of little these things that you have brought in should not be
Yeah.
like, and in 2 hours to cover all of these little pointers, like Fatima's husband again
It's
is
so evolved.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
हाँ.
okay and chill. So I mean, this is all of these issues of the society, so or small issues, covering all of these in those 2 hours is like a
Yeah.
big deal, big deal.
But
Like,
we always had this thing, had this issue, to be very honest, like कि this film is trying to say too many things, and then to pick one and stick to the one is like we eventually reach to the point of like male touch. Okay, we have
yeah,
to lose them,
yeah.
but it wasn't actually the part like हमें शुरुआत से पता था कि हम this is going to be the main idea. It's like every draft, every edit, and every time when we are shooting also, one or two new things always used to come. Like I remember there is this one scene, like obviously when Ayushmann is kind of like giving him the education regarding like that you have gone wrong. And behind the scene was that we also never wanted to tell or say it out that bhai, that way is a wrong way, because there are homosexuals and there are people.
Yeah.
We didn't want to say that it's wrong. But then what we said in the script, and if you see it was a huge discussion on the set itself, is said, so we are saying if you want a child, then it's a wrong way. There's so many friends of mine who belongs to the homosexual
Exactly.
community.
Yeah.
And I was very aware of that fact. Okay, I don't want to say that okay, that's wrong. I just want to say that if you want to have a child, then that's a wrong way. Very sensitive while writing each and everything, each and every scene. Even the whole fact of the teen pregnancy was like, hey, we need to bring the police in the end. It is
Hmm.
important to convey the fact that even if it was consensual, it was indeed a rape in terms of Indian penal law. So,
Exactly.
so to put everything, to tie everything, there are a lot of research also has went into the whole fact that ke agar aise cases aate hain to kya hoga. Thanks to my wife, she was there on the shoot as well.
Exactly. I was
She
coming to that point that your wife also helped with a lot of this shoot. So, how was that
was
experience for both of you?
I was so happy that she was the part of my first film. I would say that it was because of her that all the thing has happened from the conception of the idea. When I went to meet her, there was like 8 लोगों का बैच था इनका पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन में, and in those 8 लोगों के बैच में सिर्फ एक लड़का था, बाकी 7 लड़कियां थी. And I was just talking to that guy, and that's when the idea struck how he used to feel, yaar. And that guy remained with me in the whole time. And I always used to tell Sapna, my wife, okay, it would be great if we can able to tell this story. Or she always used to tell, क्या कहानी बताओगे gynecology department में? इस पे क्या ही कहानी बनेगी? And then eventually started when shared this idea, people reacted, and I started writing the story from the draft one to the final draft. And then even when my work is finished, अनुभूति used to call for each and everything कि ये कपड़े क्या होंगे कॉलेज में, ये कैसे पकड़ेंगे, ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट क्या होगा, अगर ये पेशेंट अंदर जाता है तो कितनी देर में वो बाहर आएगा. She used to so she eventually then अनुभूति realized that कि I'm just wasting so much of her time. We used to properly hire her. So they hired her as a medical consultant. She get a credit on the film as well.
Wow.
So she actually literally told each and everyone on the set about each and every minute detail. Even when the people are washing their hands, it has been trained by her. So that's a good thing. Like we did a screening of doctors in Mumbai, especially before the release of the film, and thankfully none of the doctors said that there was a mistake in this script.
Wow. That's awesome. That's actually
That,
awesome, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That
that
feels
was
great.
that
Because,
feels very relieved. More than great, it was a relief.
yeah,
Okay, acha.
finally.
Because a lot of people knew me because my family belongs to the medical field. So a lot of doctors were actually waiting, like because my brothers were messaging everyone and this and that. So a lot of people were waiting. Okay, chalo doctors की ऊपर film आ रही है and all that. And I knew that कि बहुत भयानक scrutiny होने वाली है. कि ये गलत था, ये सही था. Thankfully, one or two messages I got, which was also I explained it to them later, but no big message कि ये कैसे कर दिया types वाला.
हाँ.
So,
इसमें तो काफ़ी I could understand because I have like so many nephews and nieces and I've always been in the hospitals because of this. So, and I've also been
okay.
scolded by female gynecologists. So I know what Shefali played the role as. I understand.
Yeah.
And Shefali did it so
Oh
superb,
man.
man. Yeah,
Oh
it was
man.
so cool. So, all
That's
right.
so
So I
cool.
would like to ask you, so you got to work closely with Ayushmann Khurrana with your wife as well. So how was that experience with Ayushmann Khurrana?
Ayushmann, I would say, he said yes to the script in one narration. And I was like so surprised and so happy about the fact because the moment when he said yes, I was like, it is so correct. It's actually the film made for him. It's a
Yeah.
tailor-made film for him. And the first time we met on the sets was in Allahabad because the whole college was shot in Allahabad.
Yeah.
And but I find him so down to earth. Like that's the best part of him because he is also one of that guy who has struggled so much. The very first day we were discussing, like, oh, you and me both are of the same age. We both actually had so many other connections. He also like tried to for medical for a few years and then shifted.
Yeah.
And he was also a radio jockey. I was also a radio jockey for a year. And so we started getting like connected on the very first day, and then it continued like for the whole shoot. What I realized about Ayushmann is that you never feel that you can't go and talk to him. He just like so he gives you such a comfort vibe that will not even for a single moment you feel like that you can't talk to him and you can just talk anything to him. So that's the best part. That, and also at the same time, and on a very creative level, he's very open to the ideas. Like even when we are changing or discussing things, he will very proactively sit down and listen to you, and then the changes will be accepted and all that. Plus, he's a very fun guy. He has a very wicked sense of humor. He loves his PJs, and he knows that he's actually cracking very bad jokes, but he loves cracking them. So, like for example, I write Saurabh Bharat. So he always for the very first time he said Saurabh Bhagat. No, Saurabh Bharat. नहीं, अब तो हम भगत जी बुलाएंगे आप भगत जी. So if you actually ever see if on Insta and like anywhere he's tagging me or anything, he always write Bhagat ji. So even though my name is Bharat, he calls me Bhagat ji. So yeah, so random, but yeah, I mean his jokes are fab. In terms of being poor, they are fab.
Cool. Like, okay, we got to know one more talent of Ayushmann Khurrana today. Out of
That's
all the many.
it's a pretty famous talent. That's what I think. I mean, the set always knows that he must be cracking very bad jokes. Yeah.
Nice. Any fun moments from your shooting in Allahabad and Bhopal during Talk Till
I was funny moment. Actually, the whole nursery shoot, जहाँ पर वो आयुष्मान enters, वो आकर बोलती कि मैंने आपके उस पे नाम बच्चे का नाम रखा है.
हाँ.
We all were because there were 7 babies in the cradles. And बहुत मुश्किल से उनको सुलाया गया था ताकि कोई भी शोर ना करे. So सब लोगों को, यहाँ तक कि कैमरा वालों को भी सबको ये बोल दिया गया था किसी का फोन नहीं बजेगा, सब एकदम ऐसे दबे पांव चलेंगे, और नो वन हैज टू लाइक शाउट और से, मतलब ताकि बच्चे उठे ना. शॉट स्टार्ट होता है, आयुष्मान एंड द वुमन एंटर्स, एंड द फर्स्ट टेक में ही एक बच्चा रोना शुरू करता है. उसी की देखा देखी दूसरा रोना शुरू करता है, और फिर तीसरा रोना शुरू करता है, और फिर शॉट ओवर. फिर दोबारा से सारे बच्चे शांत कराए गए, इनकी मम्मियों को बुलाया गया, और मम्मियां वहां पर ऐसे खड़ी की गई थी पीछे के साइड पर. जैसे ही कट होता था वापस, द मदर्स यूज्ड टू गो एंड देन सो लॉट ऑफ टाइम लाइक देयर वर 50 क्रेडल्स. तो लाइक पीछे के क्रेडल्स में तो हमने नकली बच्चे डाल दिए थे. बट आई थिंक दिस द फ्रंट में we actually kept 4 or 5 real babies. But yeah, that was pretty fun. The one very funny incident was, so there was 3 women who were supposed to like shout in the labor pains. But the problem that was happening, like so many men are around, and especially Ayushmann, so you can't take it out. So they were like, Anubhuti got little aware about the fact that men hai, so उन लोग को बाहर ले गए. But then still they were not crying and everything. Then finally Ayushmann बोला, अच्छा मैं समझ गया अब क्या हो रहा है. And then he get on a stretcher beside. He literally lie down as if he is a pregnant woman, and वो अब बोल रहे हैं, अब मेरे साथ चिल्लाओ आप लोग. And then they are literally he break the ice by literally shouting like a woman in labor. And वो सीन देखने वाला था. मेकिंग में भी शायद उन्होंने कहीं नोट किया था, but that literally helps. And finally we get the scene. Even in the final scene they look little nervous, but at least we got a little bit of the scene. पहले तो आवाज ही नहीं निकल रही थी उन लोगों से, actually because of Ayushmann.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the most difficulty there. We just watched the movie and we just watched them shouting, but what went behind the scenes is even funnier. And nice, I mean, Ayushmann Khurrana acting like bringing the male, like removing the male touch, no? He actually did it.
He actually did that.
Yeah.
That's the part. He did it at many places, actually, I would say. This is just a one incident, but he did it at the many places.
Everybody would have been skeptical, no? It's Ayushmann Khurrana having their fan moment.
I think the women were getting more mesmerized by him, like, oh, Ayushmann Khurrana and all that. So that was because those all were local artists. So yeah, that was happening.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. All right. So coming towards the travel part, Saurabh. So how did you decide on the location as Bhopal and Allahabad?
So Bhopal was not the first choice. The first choice of the script was actually Pune. when we have written even way before the Jungli came into the scene, and but we thought, because Pune was never actually covered in the mainstream Hindi film before Andhadhun. So we wanted to do that, but then when the production come on, they said that we want to do Kanpur, Lucknow, something like that. So we have another draft that was based on Kanpur, Lucknow. And then Ayushmann said that when Ayushmann came on board, he said, I've done too many UP films. I don't want to do a UP film. So then we shifted to Bhopal. Then we shifted to Bhopal because I know a lingo a little bit. And plus, Bhopal is a very shoot-friendly city.
Yeah.
But then what happened is we didn't get a shoot location for a college. The way of college that we were looking for. Most of the colleges are very plain Jane buildings, which was not too exciting. And that's why when the production designers, they suggested Allahabad University, that's where we got all excited. It's a beautiful place, beautiful buildings. And that's why the whole college part has been shot in Allahabad. Ab to Bhopal is like a second Bollywood.
Bollywood, yes. A lot of movies happen there. I think Abhi Rajkumar Rao's Ludo also was shot there, and then I absolutely love that Gauhar Mahal. So taking that as the first shot, I was very happy.
Yeah. वो trademark भी बन चुका है भोपाल का actually.
Gauhar Mahal.
Gauhar Mahal.
Any travel experience from your end, if you would like to share with us?
I actually want to just mention about a place that I belong to, my parents belongs to. Travel-wise, I always tell people to go there, which is very less explored. It's called Panna. It's near Khajuraho. And so there are 2-3 falls, beautiful falls are there. Panda Fall. That's my favorite place on the whole planet because of my childhood memories over there. But also it's a very serene place. Like, so there is a fall. For that fall, you have to like walk down the stairs, like almost a kilometer you need to walk down. And then there are caves. And on the roof of the cave, there are natural water falling down. So there is no river, but the natural water from the roots are falling down. So even if it is summer, like hot summer, if you reach there and sit inside that cave, it's almost like as if someone has just running the AC.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and plus there is a fall also on the side, a big pond, and then the river is also going around. It's a beautiful place.
Sounds beautiful.
This is just one place that I'm talking about, but Panna, because of the Tiger Reserve and because of the forest, there are so many beautiful falls and places around that place.
I have heard about the Panda Falls. They are beautiful. So any last message you would like to give for the scripters?
No, I just want to give the last message about the fact that if you have a story, if you want to tell a story, and if you have a patience, please contact us. We have a website also, Scriptors. You can find me out on Instagram. And though I would still say that it's a long journey, the only thing is that we can be a part of that long journey. I'm not saying that because of us or because of me, our journey become easier or anything. But telling a story, you need a passion. If you don't have a passion, then you're not able to go to tell the story. So Stay that passion alive. And stories are very, very important to tell. Because you don't know where a boy must be sitting and watching a story and then getting inspired from it. And for what? I'm not saying that you will definitely get inspired for writing a story, but a person gets inspired. Like I remember Indian hockey team captain, female hockey team captain said that I got inspired because I watched Chak De India when I was young. So you never know. Stories are very good.
Exactly. And I will provide all the links to reach out to Saurabh and his Scriptors website in the description box below. So do go check them out. So thank you so much, Saurabh.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely loved this conversation.
I also loved it. I really enjoyed talking.
So this was Saurabh Bharat's inspiring journey so far, and I hope this episode helped throw some light on screenwriting and how, if you dream of being a writer, how you can make your dream of writing turn into reality. Thank you so much for giving your precious time to this podcast. If this episode was inspiring and insightful, please do drop a comment on my Instagram and YouTube @MyBohoVoyage. Also, do check out my YouTube channel at MyBohoVoyage for the video version of this episode. Please do subscribe and give a 5-star rating and hopefully write a review for Inspiring Explorers. Also, please don't forget to connect with me on Instagram and YouTube. Drop me a hi or send me a comment so that I know we are in this journey together. This is Meenakshi Srivastava, your host for Inspiring Explorers, saying goodbye. See you next week with an amazing, inspiring interview. Till then, take care.